We are live. Hello, Internet. It is good to see you. Welcome to Character Choices, a show where us family members, at least most of us, we're missing one this evening, where fathers and daughters and aunts and cousins and all sorts of things have gotten together to play a little D&D on the Internet. All in our quest for the greatest story ever rolled. We're happy to have you guys with us again. And happy to kind of continue the story. A lot went down in our last few episodes, and by that I mean a lot of characters went down on the ground, out of hit points. It was kind of cool.
I feel like that's a
We'll get to that here in just a minute. Um, as far as a few announcements go, we did just have an out of character session yesterday, and I am now realizing that that a few things have switched up in my overlay.
I can see why you
So,
get
so let me take a quick peek at that and get that up and running because we kind of want to see Abigail, right?
Yeah, we at least have to see her.
Did someone undo their thing and then redo their thing? Is that what happened? We lost someone and then someone came back in.
I'm not gonna lie, I was in the same spot, so I didn't even notice that all the rest of you had swapped around.
Interesting.
I know this.
Okay.
I got your back, Bobby.
So here's what we're gonna do. I'm going to disappear us for just a half a second, everybody. Shuffle some things around, and we'll come right back to you in just a minute. So, if you don't have your Doritos on you yet, go grab your Doritos. This is be a great time to grab your Doritos and maybe a sparkly drink of some sort.
You have 30 seconds, starting now.
We will be right back. And we're back. I think we've got it set up properly this time. So, um, anyway, sorry for that little bit of a hiccup. I've got a couple of overlays, one for our out of character session, which we were just talking about, and one for this one, and I accidentally prepped the wrong one. So, but luckily it was a fast fix. But we are back and ready to rock and roll. For those of you that didn't get a chance to see our out of character session, we will be posting the VOD for that on YouTube here coming up. Within the next day or so you can go take a peek at that. It's always fun for us to get a chance to talk out of character about what's going down in the game. If you haven't caught our previous episodes leading up to this, they should all be up and on YouTube. So head to our YouTube channel, Character Choices, to take a peek at that. For all other kind of alerts and news and up-to-date things on our schedule and whatnot, you'll want to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We'll keep you posted on your social media platform of choice. It's a good thing to do, seeing as we are all kind of family members with lots of things happening in our lives. I think I mentioned before, a lot of our peoples are busy with school, although, as we mentioned on Out of Character, congratulations, Britt, for having graduated here recently.
Thank you.
But we are down one, Rachel, this evening, who plays Pim, because of some weather-related woes. She lives in Texas, and Texas is being battered currently by snow and freezing rain and things coming up, and they're dealing with power outages and kind of rolling blackouts and things, and so her internet is not up to what it needs to be tonight. But our thoughts and our prayers go out to her this evening, and we will see her when things get back up and running again on this next episode. So, any other announcements you all can think of that you would like to share with the world, capital T, capital W? Good to go?
Yep.
Okay.
Good.
I felt like I wanted to say something, but then I had nothing to say, so now I just have performance.
I feel like that literally all the time. Okay, well, some of those hiccups now out of the way, I think that we are up and running. So we will go ahead and dive into this week's episode. Previously on Character Choices, our party, after having descended through the astral hall and down a spiral staircase, found themselves in ruins of an ethereal nature after having split the party, some of our party passing through one door and some through another. Some of our party found themselves on the ethereal plane and some on the material plane. And all sorts of shenanigans went down. A great battle with many kind of bronze scouts and even an iron cobra ensued, most of which was fought by Wicket solo. So
I recognize that. Out of character and all the trauma that ensued.
As many as the rest of our party were magically transported through one of the many passages in this chancel of passage, as we came to understand that it was called, a shrine to the goddess Sif, and the chalice, they're the cupbearer. And after having each of them received a bit of help for the future, something that they needed, and Bitsy and Wicket being left behind to either facilitate the power that was flowing through this space in the case of Bitsy, or to defend against the enemies that sprang up in the case of Wicket. After everybody had returned, except conspicuously for one bright and beautiful Eladrin elf, everybody else managed to return and join battle after a little while, and things went creepily. Icon Mythic made his appearance, stepping through a portal into the room, a gnomish figure of inky blackness, and began to attack. Akerly, a part of her, was splintered off in some way that you are not sure of or aware of at this point, and a shadow Akerly appeared in the room. And a new ally appeared, thankfully, at the last minute. One Adam of the Deep, who appeared and fought alongside Wicket. And during this battle, both Wicket and Akerly fell to 0 hit points. Luckily, Wicket had her Kaima on, which was infused with the spell Spare the Dying, and so was stabilized, and then rushed through a portal that was made to appear by Renzi Hinterhain, the recently released ghost from the ethereal side. After the shackles had been broken by Bitsy, she appeared to fight by your side, made a giant doorway, kind of made of roots and growing things, appear. And Adam was able to scoop up Wicket's unconscious form and whisk her through the doorway. Akerly was able to be wound cured by Bitsy, and her and Pim and Akerly got themselves through the door and beyond. The last thing that you saw, once again, missing Anasriele by your side, was Renzi standing in the doorway, being slowly decimated by these shadowy tendrils being shot at her by Icon Mythic, telling you to go strengthen yourself. Bitsy in particular, you are being spoken to at this point, and when you are stronger, return, because you are needed. You were also told that Anasriele, your companion, was lost in the passage, but that she would probably find her way to you. And we left you through this portal, which then was closed behind you, on the ground in a mine shaft. And so the story goes. You find yourselves on the hard stone floor strewn with dust and gravel and debris, a familiar shaft that had been cut into the stone cliffs of the Wyverwood forest that you were in. Outside of the crack that at one point in time led you to the astral hall, but now seems to have been filled in with melted, almost molded stone that is hardened in a way that resembles kind of a scar, the kind of almost puffy and smoothed surface that has filled in the space between you and the astral hall. Akerly, you got zapped up to, I think, 12 hit points. You're feeling quite a bit wobbly right now as you kind of hunker down on the floor. And breathe deeply as you hear the kind of grinding and clanking of Adam beside you as he kneels, kind of bends and kneels, and puts his shields on the ground and kind of opens them very gingerly, depositing the still and unconscious form of Wicket upon the ground before standing back, looking down, and then you see Adam's head turn towards you. He speaks to the group of you in general. If any of you have the ability to heal, I demand that you use it now.
Oh, demand.
I am a defender, not a healer.
I'm still MIA, right?
You're MIA at the moment, so...
Okay. Sorry, guys.
I don't think
You don't even have spell slots or anything. I do. So
But then again, I'm nervous because Bitsy, you were fighting most of that time. So are all your spell slots used?
no. Okay. So I'm gonna. I'm like staring off into space, kind of just trying to process, and then I kind of snap back to reality, and then oh yes, oh Wicket, oh my gosh, and then I'm gonna run over, and kind of assess the situation. Then
Okay.
I'm looking at casting Healing Spirit, which is a new spell.
Okay.
I am reading it right now and kind of seeing how it works, but it can heal multiple people because I need a little help too.
Okay.
So I'm there too. But it says 1 plus your spellcasting ability modifier, which is 3. So I'm pretty sure it can heal up to 4 people.
The spell... the number of times equal to 1 plus your spellcasting ability modifier, which, let's see, you are a druid, so your modifier is +3. Yeah, so you should be able to heal 4 times. So the spirit can heal that many times. Very cool. That's a really neat spell. Does it say how much healing gets done? Oh, there we go. Okay.
1d6. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, yeah, 1d6 hit points. Yep. Is that what you would like to do?
Yeah, so I can get everyone who's kind of
Okay.
in here. I don't know what Pim's at here. Have his stats up.
Go ahead.
I'm just gonna put it on top of Wicket. It says 5 foot.
Right, and I think that you can cause it to move around if you'd like, I think. So We'll say that goes. So you, and it's verbal and somatic, so just a wave of your hand in some way and a word that you utter. And you all watch as, with a shimmer of energy. Again, I think that you've done some that's kind of goldish colored energy, some that's a little bit more purplish kind of colored energy. Is there one that you'd like to, what color is this
Can you
magic?
see a little bit of both? Gonna be like a swirly of gold and purple.
I dig that. You guys see a swirl of purplish energy infused with streaks of gold and almost fringed around the edges with kind of a dusting of golden energy appear and accumulate, and then you suddenly see a creature standing there. Now, this can be a beast of your choice or a fae of your choice. I don't have a list of all the fae creatures, like what creatures are considered fae nearby me, but is there... What's that?
Gonna be a little martin, a little Caspian.
It can absolutely be a little martin, for sure. As a small lavender and gold martin appears on the ground, kind of pops up its head and acts very similar to one Caspian. And begins to kind of scamper around, beginning with Wicket. So let's go ahead and do the 1d6 hit points. For ease of this, to make it faster, why don't you just tell us who is going to be healed, and each of you that are being healed can roll your own 1d6 real quick, if that is easiest. You know what I can is, let's see, Akerly was pretty low. Pim's real low too.
I'm just gonna move it. There should be 4 of us. I can't see Anasriele anywhere.
Oh yeah,
so
I guess with Anasriele gone, there's only 4 of you. So if each of you want to do that, I'll go ahead and roll Pim for him. Only rolled a 2 for Pim, but that's 2 more than he had.
I'm at 4 hit points now.
Woohoo! So you come back to life. Your eyes kind of blink open gently. You were in a state of almost a dreamlike state, stable and unconscious, and you kind of open to see kind of a thin, transparent, lavender gold face, just a small face with sparkly eyes, kind of looking down at you and kind of in your face. It kind of nuzzles your face. You feel warmth flow through your body, and then it kind of bounds off of you and to each of you in turn as you are all buffed. And once you're all buffed ever so slightly, it runs back up and does a bit of a bow to you, Bitsy, and then into lavender and gold kind of dust that filters to the ground and is gone.
Wicket just like kind of lays there for a second on the ground on her back and like looks around and like ever so slowly sits up and looks around at everyone.
You hear a creak as kind of as form bends down in front of you, and you see this holographic almost face kind of blink digitalish eyes at you and say, "You're alive."
Yep, that's me. I'm alive.
Very good.
Can't get rid of me that easily.
I was confident that I would keep you so, he says.
Who are you again?
I am Adam of the Deep.
Hi, Adam. I'm Wicket. Well, Waywalker, Urkel, Carlin, Cribby, Eliwick, Tumbleduck, Timbers, but you can call me Wicket for short.
He's fine.
Very well, Wicket. Would you like me to call you by your name or by your title?
I don't really have a title. Unless you're talking about all of my names, but they're just names. They're not titles. So, like, you could just call me Wicket.
I can call you Wicket, but you do have a title. You are the Occam Vey.
The what now?
The Occam Vey.
That didn't clarify my question at all. What's that?
What is the Occam Vey? And he kind of turns and looks a bit confused up and then kind of back down at you. Why, you
Yep,
are the
that's
Occam
my
Vey.
question. Well, okay, I don't think we're understanding each other. What I mean to say is, like, what is an Arkham Vey?
Oh no, it is pronounced Occam Vey. And I'm gonna actually have you do a why don't you do an intelligence roll for me, very quickly. So add your intelligence modifier. Suppose that you could maybe do, if it's any better for you, a history check.
Yep, that's better. Let's do that.
Okay.
Okay. I got a 12.
Okay. With a 12, as he goes back and forth with you, Akamve, it suddenly kind of clicks in your mind. It's that there are some words in Gnomish that are similar but slightly different. And you begin to put together that this is a Gnomish phrase. The gist of the phrase, after you spend a minute kind of digging through this kind of arcane form that it takes, is the Deep Watcher.
Oh. You mean like the old thing that sometimes people say is the Deep Watcher?
The Deep Watcher. Yes.
Right.
The Akamve.
Cool. But why are you calling me that?
Because you are the Akamve.
Why, I'm the Arkham-Ve.
You may have hit your head hard. Perhaps things are fuzzy. Perhaps on the morrow you will remember more or be more
There's
aware.
nothing to really remember. But I guess it's okay if you call me that, even though I don't really know what it means or why you're calling it to me. But I guess it's fine. We can talk about it later, I guess.
I am a defender, not
You're
a historian.
a very good defender.
I wish I could tell you more.
You could.
You are the Akamve. You have authority.
Yep. I guess you don't have to tell me if you don't want to. I was just trying to make conversation since you were very nice to me and helped save my life. That was very nice of you, by the way. Thank you for that.
I am but doing my duty. You have the authority, Akamve.
Right.
Wicked.
Yeah. Wicked. So where'd you come from anyway?
From the deep.
Cool. The deep.
I am of the deep.
Watcher. From the deep.
The Akamve.
Yeah.
And he actually turns in mid-conversation and turns to you, Bitsy, and says, "Thank you for healing the Akamve with your fuzzy little spirit."
Yeah. It took me a minute to be like, what fuzzy little? And it's like, oh. And I'm kind of just watching them go back and forth, just kind of sitting on the floor. I'm gonna turn to Wicket. So, what do you want me to call you? Do you want me to keep calling you Wicket, or would you like me to call you what? Arkham Bay? Arkham Bay.
The Akamve.
Adam said it right, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying and how it's different from what he's saying either, but no, just call me Wicked because I don't really know what he's talking about exactly. It's just like a thing, I guess. It's a gnomish thing that's like the Deep Watcher, but that's literally all I know about it. So I really don't know what I'm talking about.
Watching the Deep Watcher. Adam of the Deep.
I mean,
Connections there.
yeah.
I don't know.
Are you guys okay?
I'm gonna check my hand real quick.
Okay.
She says, "Are you okay?" I'm like, oh.
You raise your hand up and you hold it in front of your face, and you see something right off the bat, and that is that
Hopefully.
the mark that had appeared on your hand on the ethereal side, you see is still there on your palm. It's not etched or burned or scarred. It's just kind of like a very well done tattoo that's almost blends into your skin. It's just slightly different color than your skin pigment. but the pigment has changed, and you see the symbol of House Melanet upon your hand.
Burning, like stars are burning or age.
Beyond the symbol, you do not see any change to your hand. But as you look away from your hand, as soon as the hand hits your peripheral vision, you suddenly see that it is withered, pretty dramatically and emaciated. And you look back at it, and it appears to be fine. And then as you look away, it kind of out of the corner of your eye, you see this withered kind of feeling thing, and then kind of back, and it looks normal again. It's very odd.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
It just watches
And-
Fitzy do this, like,
Right. And it does ache ever so slightly. Not like a deep, like a burning, searing, awful, horrible pain, but kind of that annoying kind of deep ache, kind of a sore muscle.
Age, but I can't see the age. But it's there. I'm not crazy. It's there. And the symbol, just so I can remember, is the one, like the same one as I have like on my signet ring, right?
It's basically the same one as on your signet ring. It's kind of an abstract shape of that resembles a growing tree, with a few points in and around it.
I think I'm okay for the most part. I think I'm okay for the most part. But Akerly was on the brink of death for a moment. I had to go over and do some quick work just so she could walk away alive.
Wicked's gonna snap her head. Oh yeah, are you okay?
Why don't you do a perception check for me, Wicket?
Oh no. We totally forgot.
Well, it's probably not gonna be that good because I just rolled a 4, so 6.
You rolled a 6. She looks tired and a bit beat up, and on the ground. Otherwise, she looks like Akerly. It's hard to see though in this light, even with your dark vision, with your very good dark vision. Actually, wow, that was a bad roll. Hard to see anything. You're still recovering. Perhaps Adam is blocking your view. So, but yeah, do you go over to her?
Yeah, Wicked's gonna like gingerly stand up, kind of wobble for a second, and be like, cool, and then walk over.
Sounds good. We'll say that as you approach, one thing at least jumps out at you. You can see that a streak of very dark black has appeared in her hair. And as you approach, because you have, I'm just trying to remember, you have like just regular dark vision? Okay, yeah, so 60 feet in the dark. As you approach, her hair is kind of chocolatey brown, but there is one streak, an inch and a half or so wide, that comes from the root and goes down the outside. That is deep, deep, deep black. It is glossy, dark on the side of her head there. And that's beyond that, hard to notice much else. You might maybe discern maybe a few additional fine wrinkles around the corners of her eyes.
What's that? I'm gonna point at the streak in your hair.
What's what?
It's like black now. Did you get dirty?
Probably. I mean, we just fought a lot, so I'm sure it'll come out with a wash.
It looks really dark. Like more dark than normal dirt. I get lots of dirt on me and my hair doesn't usually turn black, but I mean, we were in a weird place. Where's Anasriele?
Oh my gosh! Where is Anasriele? What? No, Wicked. I'm gonna start
Leave her behind.
scanning the walls.
Okay. Why don't you do an investigation
I was
check
gonna
for?
wait.
Are you? getting up and really looking around, like kind of patting things down. Go ahead and do an investigation check for me real quick.
That'll be a 13.
Okay. You do not find an Eladrin standing around in the shadows. Yeah, you do see the space that was sealed off, and as you kind of follow a little deeper kind of in and kind of looking around, you do actually hit a place a little bit farther down where another shaft kind of goes off of the main tunnel. It was hard to notice this before, and you got distracted by the kind of shiny crack in the wall. But there is another shaft that seems to have been sealed off with beams and wood. It's not kind of sealed in or crumbled, but sealed off. And you can see that branded into one of the beams. You see actually a symbol that's relatively familiar to you. It's the same one that is hanging on a wooden sign over the inn that you stayed in back in Baronhold. The sign of Handarl Quaylen, the Baron of Baronhold.
We were supposed to find a mine before we tried to fight evil gnomes and stuff. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna forget about Anasriele for a split second. Oh, I see something. There's something. Quinn, Handel, connections. I'm gonna start yelling and hope someone kind of puts the pieces together out of these little broken English words I'm using.
There's like a back to you, Wicket. Your friend has made a connection.
Yeah, I heard that. Wicket's gonna come over and look at what you're seeing.
I'm gonna be pointing at it. Look. It's like the one on the end, and if you look at the wood, it kind of looks like a mine shaft, and we were
Aren't we supposed to find that or something?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But shouldn't we find an Anasriele first?
Yeah. And Anasriele! Start padding the walls again.
You all spend time looking and yelling and screaming for just a few moments and find no hint of an Anasriele.
Wicket's just gonna plop down in the middle of the room. What happened?
Did she die?
She was with me. I don't know where she went though. She was with me. And then the ghost and she was in the room with me. I don't know where she could have possibly went.
Was she fighting? I didn't see any of her fighting. I would have noticed her luscious pink hair and.
Can we talk about that? Cause like no one was fighting. Everyone disappeared. Where did you all go?
I was putting my hand in a cup. Okay? I was busy.
I was fighting like 4 giant, like a lot of giant things.
Tomato. No one
Pim
saw.
Pim actually, I imagine at this point in time would kind of walk over. His head's hanging down just a little bit, and he kind of says, "I'm really sorry. I was drawn through that door, and I couldn't stop it. Some really weird things happened in there, but I came back. I think I punched a thing or two in the end."
Wicket's just gonna pat Pim. It's okay. You tried. Thank you.
You tried.
He looks a bit seriously at you and says, "I'll try harder next time, I promise."
So we better find an Anasriele. Cause, also, I'm like really tired. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not sure I want to go into that mine just now. Anyway, so...
Oh, and he just wanted us to find the location of it, so if we can just mark it on a map, then I think that's all we needed to do.
We should do that. Maybe Anasriele's down the tunnel.
Anasriele remembers things really well.
She's probably waiting for us outside already.
She's dead. She died. I mean,
Sure she's not.
opportunities for her to die were a lot.
Well, what happened? Where'd she go when she walked in the room with you?
She walked in the room with me?
Well, yeah, she was in your group. It was me and Pim, and we walked in the one door, and then you guys walked in the other door.
I'm trying to remember when you were putting your hand on the cup. I think you were kind of whenever those doors appeared, you wouldn't really have seen them go through the doors, so I guess that wouldn't have been a thing. Equally, I will say that you will have, even though you were super scared at the time, you will have seen Anasriele pass through one of the doors in the same way that you ended up passing through one of the doors as well. So you do know that she went through a door.
I think
You just know that she didn't come back out of one.
Oh, I would say then. Oh, I remember now. She walked through a door, so maybe she found a way back to the out of the cave. She walked through a door.
Then maybe the
Pim
door
says
was
it. Pim says, and I think I remember the ghost lady saying that she'd find her way back to us.
Okay. She's not dead.
Not dead.
So we should get out of this tunnel. That's my vote. Anyone with me?
I'm with you to the end.
Thanks, Adam.
Alright. Hey. Well, let's see where's the exit?
You guys it would be easy to find. You guys remember coming in as pretty much a straight shot from the outside, about, I want to say 15-20 minute walk in.
Okay, let's go. Wicked's just gonna start walking down. Slightly wobbly, but determined.
Okay. And we'll say that you guys begin your trek out of the mine and into the distance. Back towards the glade where you had the initial fight with the Talaru, and where you left the sprites and pixies in the care of the shaman. Anasriele. If you recall, after speaking with Jonas of Avram Torah and trying to speak with the other versions of yourself that had split off from you, you walked back across the seal at the center of the room, feeling yourself coming back together again, the fourfold versions of you merging once more, and expecting to return to your friends, as you told Jonas that you would. And after a bit of uncomfortableness, similar to the splitting, but this kind of coming together, you slowly kind of stumble forward, and you find yourself in yet another room. The space that you find yourself is vast enough and dark enough that you can only see around you as far as your dark vision lets you, which is about 60 feet. You're standing on a floor that is made of unpolished, matte, white material. And as you kind of look down at it, you can see that the floor is made entirely of what appears to be bone. And it's not like there's bones scattered on the floor. The entire floor is a flat, single surface of bone. And it goes off in all directions around you as far as your dark vision goes until it runs out into darkness. And the only thing that you see before you, you see about 30 feet in front of you, a wrought iron gate hanging within a stone archway. And the gate is covered in dead ivy. You can see the remnants of ivy vines having curled up and then dried to husk. And through the grates, through the bars of the wrought iron gate, there's a cold kind of teal colored light coming through from the other side of the gate. What do you do?
I'm gonna look around for a minute, kind of bounce from foot to foot, say, what would me, myself, and I do in this situation? I know what one me would do, and kind of roll my eyes at what I think winter me would do. Winterme would definitely not go in there. But what if... And I'm going to kind of pause, like, mid-jumping to the other foot. And just midair, put my foot back down and say, but what if there's something cool in there? What would other me do? And start thinking this through and say, Winter Mia says not to go in. Autumn Mia says, my friends are probably worried. And who cares what Summer Me thinks? Summer Me is the most like me. I think it's safe for sure. And I'm gonna take 2 steps forward and say, think this through, and that's real. Think this through. And I'm gonna keep looking at the gate and say, dead plants are signs of dead things, and probably me being dead. So I'm gonna do a perception check.
Okay. Go ahead and roll perception.
Hold on. I forgot. I was gonna say what I rolled and then forgot to add this. I have a 23.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Girl.
So you look around, and with your 23, you see once again this floor made of bone, extending outwards in a radius around you, 60 feet in all the directions. There's very little to see. You do not see any forms, no items or objects upon the ground. There's not even, as far as you can tell, there's not even a layer of dust or anything here. It's very, very odd.
Wow, this place is immaculate, and I whistle. I'm gonna turn. Can I turn while I'm looking?
Yeah, you spin kind of all around.
Behind me.
Nothing. It just extends offward into darkness in all directions, and then as you return, kind of revolve back around to the gate with a 23, you notice a few more details. The gate appears to be old. It's rusted and pitted in places a bit. But yeah, not really much to be seen.
Summer Me would want me to draw my sword, so I'm gonna draw my rapier and take a few more steps forward. Say, man, this out-of-body experience really does things to a person.
As you take a few...
And I'm gonna head towards the gate.
Okay. As you take a few steps towards the gate, you near it. You're able to begin to kind of see through, kind of between the dead ivy and the bars, the wrought iron bars, and you see beyond what appears to be some sort of a tunnel of some kind. Although it's odd, the floor is the same that moves off from the gate, kind of bone white floor, but you do see kind of dead leaves have kind of fluttered down to it, and you do see a bit of debris on the floor beyond the gate. And you see that the walls and the ceiling are made, again, of wrought iron. They rise up and kind of curl. They're made of these designs that kind of come together with more dead climbing plants, ivy and flowers, plants that have grown with kind of withered flowers upon them. And it's this tunnel, almost similar to the kind of overpasses that kind of go up over freeways and have like the chain link kind of thing, except for that chain link is very elaborate wrought iron running off. And it just kind of heads off away, more of this kind of teal, cold teal light filtering softly through the plants and the bars.
The gate, is it in a wall? Or is it kind of in the center of the room, like I could circle it? It's
hanging inside of a stone archway. So there's a stone archway built around it, large fitted stone that has more plants kind of crawling up and around it.
But dead in the room.
What's that? But that is just sitting in the floor, solo in the room as far as you can tell. Do you walk around it?
I'm gonna walk around it.
Yeah, as you walk around it, you walk around to the other side, and you see exactly the same thing that you saw on the other side. The room off into darkness, and the same exact appearance, the gate before you. Just almost a cloned copy. You see the tunnel extending beyond the gate in the distance.
A tunnel that goes nowhere. Intriguing. And my eyes are gonna kind of light up with this spring curiosity. Intriguing. And I'm gonna kind of like nervous energy, like be patting my thighs with my hands or kind of bouncing from foot to foot as I look around. And I'm gonna investigate whichever side of the gate I'm on.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and do an investigation check.
I have a 15.
Yeah, you kind of near it. You begin to kind of examine. You can see that there is a handle on the gate that is a simple kind of curved bit of iron that you could grasp onto and kind of pull like a latch. And as far as you can tell, as you investigate, you are kind of looking just in case to be as careful as you can. Are there any wires or any kind of oddnesses around? And as far as you can tell, with your 15, it seems like a very simple, if elaborately decorated
I hate when you clarify my role. Like, that's the worst. Like, as far as you can tell.
With your 15.
Like, it could still be trapped, and I just rolled too low.
Well, no, it would have to be a very clever trap, though. That 15 is pretty good.
Cleverer than having a magic door appear to take me to a room.
It is a magic door, maybe, potentially.
Well, I did my due diligence, and I'm going to open it.
You reach down to... and it opens. It opens without any sort of oddness. Nothing happens to you. There's no explosions. No Raiders of the Lost Ark style darts come out of anything in your direction. No pits open up. Just the tunnel that you see a bit more clearly now with the gate.
I'm gonna go in.
You step through. You feel a bit of a difference as you step through. The air changes. You can almost immediately smell a kind of must and mold kind of smell around you in the space. And you feel the air feels, it's like a wet kind of chilly. It's like the feeling that you have like when a fever breaks and you're suddenly cooler, but you're like in your sweat kind of covered clothes. So this is odd kind of damp, almost too cool, but like just having come out of that fever. You get this kind of feeling as you pass through. It's not cold, it's not warm, somewhere in between. And you step through, and as you step through, you can see now a bit better out through the edges of this wrought iron. And you can see beyond that the tunnel that you're in seems to be in the air, about 20 feet above the ground, beyond and below it, as far as you can tell. And below it, you see a blasted landscape, barren, uneven, muddy. You see pools of water kind of filling odd depressions all around, lots of these little pools of water. And you can see the light coming, this same cold kind of teal light. You know, there's the teal that's like beachy, but this is that aquamarine kind of greenish blue, but in a very cold, almost diluted sense. And seems to be coming from hundreds and hundreds of orbs, small kind of orbs of light that are floating about 3 to 4 feet off the ground, bobbing and drifting around these pools. And as you kind of look out at these things, you see one of the pools flicker, and a reflected image appears on the top of the pool. You see a room, stone floors, wooden walls, a bed, one flickering candle on a desk. You see a figure kind of stooped over the desk, sitting in kind of a nightgown thing, writing something. You see him from behind. You see a sword standing beside him, kind of leaned up against the desk. And as this flickers into life, you see one of these orbs kind of turn and move close and bob, and then kind of zip down into the surface of the pool, which goes out, and the orb disappears, and it's just a pool again. And that's basically what you see as you enter this tunnel.
The lights. You said they're 3 to 4 feet off the ground. Are they near me? Like, did I step into them?
Nope, they're below you. So because the tunnel that you're in seems to be standing like 20 feet in the air, and these are 3 to 4 feet off the ground, but 20 feet below you. So they're still 15 plus feet away from you, and don't seem to react to your presence.
Is there any way to get down that's obvious? Like, is there a path or a staircase or?
The tunnel moves forward in front of you, and as you kind of look and around you, you turn, you actually notice that the gate is gone, and you see that there's just a wall behind you where the tunnel seems to have ended in stone, kind of filled in stone. There does not seem to be any stairways. There is literally only one direction that you can go in this tunnel.
I'm gonna look at now my exit that has been cut off to say, "Oh dear," and look back down. Say, "Oh no, guess I didn't think this through enough." It's okay. I just won't tell anyone. No one can yell at me if I don't tell anyone. But there's nowhere to go but forward, and I'm gonna go.
do forward.
And I'm gonna kind of bounce along and very quietly hum as I go.
Awesome. Yeah, you hum as you move forward. This tune kind of drifting up in the space around you. Yeah, roll me a perception check, another perception check really quickly. Perception, not investigation.
I have a 17.
Awesome. You do notice as you hum this tune and go forward, you notice that some of the leaves, the kind of withered leaves and kind of withered flowers around you, as you pass and your tune kind of comes into their area, seem to kind of fill out and almost liven a little bit. And then as you pass, they kind of, again, when your tune passes them along with you. And you feel just a hint of power on the air kind of from this hum that you're humming. But you travel for a while. It's hard to tell here. Time is weird, but you travel for a certain amount of time. And the tunnel just kind of seems to keep extending before you. And you keep going until you hear a fluttering of wings. And there's as something kind of lands inside of the kind of wrought iron of the wall beside you and kind of pokes through.
I'm going to raise my sword and
Okay.
stop humming.
You see that a raven has appeared and perched upon the wrought iron, kind of slipping through a space that's large enough. And it's a rather large raven. And it's jet black except for its beak, which is bone white, like the floor of the tunnel. And its eyes, which instead of being kind of black and beady, are glowing this cold teal color as it kind of settles, and you see it kind of cock its head and kind of look at you, and just kind of stand there.
I'm going to mirror it and cock my head too.
And
What's your name?
it doesn't respond.
I assume you're my companion, since no one else is here. It's me, it's you, it's those lights, which are nice. Can I raise my arm and try and coax it to me? Like,
You bet. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Falcon style?
And it kind of looks at you with its kind of eyes. And go ahead.
I'm gonna hum as I try and coax it, something that I think would be inviting. Am I rolling animal handling?
Go ahead and roll. I'm going to actually need you to roll a persuasion check for me.
Yes, that's my strength. Way to go, David. Oh, I forgot that I had that. Cool. I have an 18.
Okay. With an 18, you see the cold eyes kind of staring at the proffered arm. Kind of looks back up at your face for a moment. And then it leaps down and flies farther off down the tunnel in front of you.
I'm gonna pause again, turn behind me, and then follow it.
Okay. You continue. You take the tunnel for quite a bit longer. What feels like an hour passes as you walk. You're beginning to almost feel a bit hungry and a bit parched, a bit thirsty. Time has passed here as you move until you hear a flutter of wings and you see the raven kind of poke through again and kind of looking at you as you move forward.
I'm gonna stop next to it.
Okay.
Where are we going?
It turns its head and it looks down, farther down the tunnel.
I trust you, and I'm gonna shrug and continue.
You do. You pass the raven. You hear a fluttering of wings. And a second later, a very short moment later, you feel a light-ish weight settle on your shoulder. And there is a darkness kind of in your peripheral, the darkness of the dark feathers of this raven. And as you kind of turn and look at it, you see its bone-white beak and its kind of teal eyes that are glowing bioluminescently and almost shedding kind of light around as it kind of looks at you. It caws kind of at you and then turns and just keeps looking ahead at the tunnel as you continue.
I'm honored, and I'm gonna keep going.
You do. And it's longer, maybe another 20, 30, 40 minutes passes until you see the tunnel coming to some sort of an end. And you see that the tunnel is stopped at a wooden surface rising up. And as you near it, you realize that it's kind of the roughened bark exterior of a very large, very old tree that seems to have grown right up at the end of the tunnel. And you see that hanging in the side of this tree, another gate has been hung here. This one is powdery green, the powdered green of weathered copper. And you can see that a climbing plant has grown up the side of the tree here. And you can see a few large, almost lily-like flowers have grown here. And they seem to be alive. They're dark gray with several of these teal, kind of bioluminescent teal-colored stamen that are kind of hanging out from them, glowing ever so slightly. You can feel the tightening of the talons, for lack of a better word, the feet of the bird on your shoulder, kind of tighten their grip ever so slightly as you approach the door, but there is no other reaction by the
I'm
raven.
gonna slow.
Okay.
Can I investigate, or can I roll a nature check to see if I would know anything? Is that what a nature check does?
Nature would be like about like plants or animals, roughly.
Okay, that's what I want. That's what I want to know is these particular flowers, because
Okay,
you can get in trouble with plants.
for sure. Go ahead and roll a nature check.
I have a 12.
Hard to tell. They are unlike anything you've seen before, except in form. In form, they appear like flowers that you've seen before, but the color and the texture of them is very different than anything that you've seen before. You do get a sense that they are not exactly natural flowers, although they are acting like natural flowers, not exactly natural. But it's really hard to tell beyond that what they are.
I'm gonna look up at the bird. Should I continue?
The bird turns and kind of peers at you out of its kind of cold eyes and caws at you one more time, and then turns and kind of just looks intently at the gate.
I'm gonna go then.
Okay.
Good enough for me.
You push through the gate. And as you do, you enter what appears to be a foyer, for lack of a better term, of some kind of rectangular space that moves in front of you, that has kind of dark wood paneled walls that rise up into kind of a high vault, and you can see rafters and beams above you in the space. And in the walls, in the rafters above the foyer, you see more of these orbs floating among the rafters, except that these are a kind of purple color, a deep purple color, instead of the teal that you've been used to. And as you step through the gate, almost immediately the raven leaps from your shoulder and with a flutter of wings disappears up into the rafters. There's a bit of a streak of teal, and then the raven is nowhere to be seen.
I'm gonna jump when that happens and say, "Oh, you scared the daylights out of me."
You hear a very low, echoey call is all that you get as the raven disappears. And this space does continue towards you, and you can see that there is another kind of opening at the end.
And I'll go forward, I guess.
And you hear music.
I'm gonna perk up at that.
And the music is
Music.
a bit drearier than you like. There's strings involved being plucked, it sounds like. It's a slow, kind of deep, dissonant sound, a bit of a buzzing to each note as it's plucked. That seems to be coming from the doorway in front of you, with more of this kind of purplish light coming through it.
I'm gonna go towards it, and I'm gonna start humming a harmony to whatever is playing.
Okay. Sounds good. Do a performance check for me real quick.
19.
Awesome. Sorry. Yeah. 19 is very good. You have to work. You have to work a bit to find a harmony. The music that's coming through the door resists your attempts to harmonize with it, and it feels palpable, almost conscious. It's a sentient kind of response to the harmony that you're attempting to do. And you begin to find a bit of a harmony, this offset kind of attempt at harmonizing with these dissonant noises. And after a moment of doing it, you can feel your harmony shatter and scatter and fall apart as it resists being harmonized with. As you near the door, right? It's very odd. It's an effect almost that it has upon you. As it scatters, your ability to find the harmony seems to kind of slip, and you struggle, which is a new sensation for you.
Okay, so I'm at the door now.
If you continued forward, you do reach the door. If you've continued forward to the door, then you will by this time see something through the door. You see a figure, and the figure is dancing. And you can see the form moving and twisting and in a almost contemporary dance kind of style in the space beyond the door. In a way, with this music, though it is not appealing. You can tell they're dancing to the music, but it feels more like a fight than anything else, or it feels tense. And as you reach the door and you look through, this figure that is dancing, which is maybe 5'9", 5'10", seems to be a male figure, turns in an awkward kind of wrenching spin in your direction, and you see his face, and it is an elven face, with elven ears and long kind of brown hair, and you recognize the face almost immediately. It is the face of Loeth, which was the elven boy, the very first elven boy that you ever met, that you befriended to a certain degree on and off during your time in the Forest of Chrysalides. And he's looking, his face turns, his gaze passes across you, and you see a grimace of pain on his face as he's dancing this dance. And his eyes pass across you but don't see you. They seem sightless almost as they pass across you, and he spins and contorts into another stance. He continues the dance. And you step through.
I have a hunch, but yes.
You step through into a round room. It rises up around you. More rafters and beams above. More of these purple orbs flashing above you. And you see, seated in a tall-backed wooden chair at the other end of this round space, another figure. Another elf. Pale skin, dark brown hair coming down. And once again, recognize this elf immediately. This is Master Sola, Descant Sola. Again, a one-time friend, but more recently, nemesis. And he sits upon this chair, a high-backed chair, with a harp in his lap. And it is a dark harp made of deep brown wood that curls and twists up in an awkward shape. And it is strung with strings that are thick and yellowish kind of in color. They have a weird kind of odd organic kind of feel to them, like tendons almost that you would see ripped out of animals. Some sort of odd gut that is strung across this harp, and he plucks with his fingers that deep kind of dissonant buzzing, and he's just eyes intense on Loeth as Loeth dances in jerks in the space before you. As you step into the space, you also do notice another gate standing behind him. It's another wrought iron gate in a freestanding stone arch like the one you passed through to get here. His eyes lock on you as you step through the space, and you see a grin curl his face as he sees you. And
I'm going to try something
okay.
before he even has a chance to speak.
Okay.
As I kind of see him, I see Lois. I'm going to pull my dagger and throw it at the harp.
Interesting. Okay. And this just is a standard dagger, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and roll for attack.
Oh, please. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Dagger. You would think that by now I would know how to read my character sheet. Hold on. Okay. So I have a... Oh, sorry, guys.
That's okay.
The hit DC on the dagger, do I add that?
Yeah. So you add the +5.
In which case, I have a 20.
Okay. You whip this dagger out and you throw it true. Direct throw towards the shape of Solon Devrin Fyra Descant of New Lotharen, and it strikes. And you said you were specifically throwing right at the harp.
Yeah.
So it heads straight towards the harp, which he has cradled kind of at his torso, his center upon him. And as it reaches it, you see it pass with like a through and kind of hit the wood at the back and kind of stick to the chair. And there's this kind of purplish kind of energy as it disperses his form and then back again. And you hear a laugh, a very almost pleasant baritone timbre to his voice as he laughs. Well, what a greeting for old friends.
I would have greeted Lois if he could hear me.
He turns to
Sadly,
Lois.
I didn't see any other friend in this room.
He looks at Loeth. He raises a hand, actually, and kind of flicks his finger as the music stops, as his hand appears. Have a seat, Loeth. And Loeth kind of jerks to a stop and kind of almost marionette style kind of hikes across and sits down in kind of a cross-legged position. He turns his attention back to you. We could be friends still.
Depends on what it costs.
Very little.
Little to you or little to me?
I think your mind should be set more upon what you'd gain than what you would spend. That is how power is accrued.
I've never been interested in power. That was your thing.
Perhaps you've yet to taste it. The taste is sweet.
What do you want from me?
Well, it is less what I want. More what my mistress wants. It seems that she wants you.
Why?
She has her plans, and her plans involve you. We've long known that you are unique. And there is something about you, about where you're from, about the connection that you have to the other. She wishes to invite you to aid her. There is very little that I know or am willing to share at this point beyond that, except that you seem to be an integral piece of her plan. And I have been waiting a very long time, feeling the weight of her disapproval. You have been a hard one to track down. But
I'm going to laugh at this, like really loudly, bent over double kind of laughing, and just straighten up after this. She doesn't sound very smart if to recruit me she sent you.
You see a bit of a kind of a quirk of annoyance kind of cross his face as you say
Oh,
this.
are you annoyed? I was pretty annoyed too when somebody tried to kill me last time you saw me.
Water under the bridge. He
Oh
says.
no, it's not. The bridge isn't even built yet, buddy. And I'm gonna flash a smile at him.
I did not know at that time how important you were. Only that you
now?
seemed to be a threat to my plans.
I
But
still am.
he kind of
I have no interest in helping you. So it depends on what your mistress wants from me and why she wants it. And you know what? Why should I even care about what she wants?
well, I'll let her try to persuade you. But now that you're here, And I'm not sure how that happened, but I was waiting for the call. It would appear that you've connected to the ethereal realm in some way. That's allowed me to reach you. And that's all I need. And his fingers go back to the harp, and the sound begins to spill forth again. And I will need you to make a wisdom saving throw for me.
I saw it coming in. $11, $12, $13.
The sound reaches you, and it wraps itself around you. You feel it wrapping like shackles around your wrists, around your ankles, and begin to tug and to pull. You feel yourself taking a step or two forward as it draws on you. And there's a large part of you that has no desire to do what your body seems to be willing to do as you step in his direction. And you hear his voice once more. Yes, she will be pleased. Loeth. And you see the boy rise again and walk in your direction, his face a grimace once again of pain.
I don't want to hurt Lois.
We will need as much power as we can to move from this place. The lady would like to dance, he says. And Loeth steps up in front of you, and you see his arms raise into kind of a partnering position as he steps forward you. There's a striking on the chords as your arms are drawn to match his. And you feel your hands kind of touch his hands. It's an odd sensation, not exactly physical, but you know they're there and you can touch them. And you begin to dance this kind of macabre kind of waltz that's a bit stilted, not exactly a 1, 2, 3. It's like a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. It's odd, very odd, but your body seems to know what to do. As you begin to dance, Master Sola begins to sing, and you hear his voice kind of drifting and echoing through the space.
Can I still talk?
Sure.
Okay. So I'm just gonna insult him. And you still can't sing either.
So far.
He continues. He continues to sing, and you feel this odd pressure building in the space around you as this happens. And you can feel an exultancy entering his voice. You hear his voice kind of filling this with this kind of almost overtone of victory as he sings. And then suddenly there's a flicker of teal, kind of cold teal in the purplish light of the space. And you kind of glance up and you see that one of these purple orbs has gone and turned blue again. And then soon another one floating nearby turns a cool teal color again. And then all of these orbs begin to kind of go from purple back to the cold teal that you saw on the outside of the tunnel before. And as they do, they brighten. And you can hear Sola's voice stutter a bit as he kind of looks up and begins to look around. And you stumble in your dance, but then it picks back up again. And as you look up, you hear wings flutter once again. And you see the raven land in the rafters above in this round space, peering down its teal eyes. And then a second raven appears. A third raven appears. And the rafters begin to fill with these dark black ravens with their bone white beaks and their cool teal eyes as they stare down. And suddenly Sola stops playing. What is this? She can't be here. As he looks up. And suddenly one of these teal blue orbs zips right down at Loeth. And it hits him in the back. And his body into purple dust that becomes kind of teal-like. And at the very last second, as he fades, you see his face go from a grimace of pain to one of... And he sees you. And you see him say, Anasriele, and then he's gone. And then there's a caw, followed by a second caw, and then all the ravens are cawing, and they descend on Sola, and he is just covered in ravens. You see their beaks flashing as they attack and peck, and you can see an odd kind of purplish blood kind of flying outwards as they in a flutter of raven black wings and flashing white beaks that come away slick with kind of purplish blood. And you hear a moan and then a scream from Sola as they begin to attack. And at this point, you do see the gate that I had mentioned behind. The teal kind of light beyond it increase in its light in a way that highlights it to your view. What would you like to do?
Am I free because he's under attack?
Yeah, you feel the kind of spiritual restraints fall.
And I have to pass him to get to the gate, right?
Yeah, you would have to kind of skirt around this mound of gyrating feathers and beaks.
What happened to the harp?
It's lost to view, buried beneath the ravens.
Okay, then I'm going to scream that we need to separate him from the harp, and I'm going to head in that direction, since I have to head in that direction anyway.
Okay, so you're heading towards the ravens, or towards the gate? Like, are you trying to skirt around to the gate, or heading straight for Sola and the ravens?
I'm heading towards them. Yet to be determined if I'm skirting or actually going to them.
Okay.
In my head, I'm thinking that I need to get the harp and get away.
Okay.
So I'm kind of doing, I guess, a middle thing. Like, I could be going either way.
Okay. So as you approach and you say you've got to separate him from his harp, you see one of the ravens kind of spin and face you. Their face kind of pull out of the pile and kind of look in your direction, slick with this kind of purplish gore, and kind of glare at you beetily, and just caw loudly in your direction. There's no way for you to kind of know what is trying to be communicated, but it feels very stay away.
I'm going to start veering then, following the warning, but also still making eye contact with this bird.
Okay.
Please, help me. The harp. I need the harp.
There's it kind of follows you as you move with another caw, and then two more faces pop out, two more raven faces, and then they all turn back and dive back down inside, and you just the sound is so loud, the kind of rustling of feathers and all of these things kind of happening in this space. They continue their grim work.
At this point, I'm just going to run and follow the warning and head to the gate.
Okay. You run in the direction of the gate. As you do, the fluttering increases. And right as you're about to kind of get there, suddenly several of these ravens kind of, and they pull up in front of you to between you and the gate. And they're fluttering in the face, in your face, and then they kind of oddly begin to merge with each other, and more of these ravens, until there's a shimmer of cool teal, And all of a sudden, before you, you see that these birds have transformed into a very tall figure of a woman, female form, in a very dark raven feathered cloak which falls down from her shoulders around her. You see dark black hair just falling around a porcelain white face, with eyes that are just wall to wall, this blue color. And she stands with her hands low, looking at you as you approach. And you see, as all of these ravens kind of to her, you can see that the chair that Sola had been sitting in is empty. No Sola, no harp as she arrives. I am about my, and she speaks to you, I am about my work here. But hold on. And she turns, and you can see that this arch is slightly different than the original. This arch, it rises up, and at the top where the keystone would be is a face, a stone face has been kind of sculpted into the archway, and it's kind of a gaping kind of face that kind of arises there. And she spins and she says, Jonas, she needs to leave. And you see the stone face begin to kind of morph and kind of, and a very familiar face kind of appears. The face of Jonas of Avram Torah looking down. Oh my, what have you gotten yourself into? He says as he kind of looks down at you.
I'm gonna shrug and look at him.
You must get her out of here. The woman stands, says, who stands
Who
before
are you? Thank you
to-
for your help. But who are you?
She looks at you.
And where did my friend Lois go?
Your friend was never here, not in truth. Neither was the trespasser.
Very gruesome end for someone who wasn't here.
I must make a point for those who trespass in my domain. And he locked me out of this place. I thank you for helping me enter it. Now
You're
I have
welcome.
reclaimed it.
Reclaimed it. Where exactly am I?
You are in my realm, where all dead things end up.
That's comforting.
She kind of
Am I
hunkers
dead?
down, and she's like 7-8 feet, like 8 feet tall. She kind of leans down at you. You are not, and hence you do not belong here. She stands back up.
I'm gonna smile. Got it. I'm not dead. This is dead realm. I'm just gonna leave. Is there anything else you need from me before I do? Or else I'll just leave in peace with Jonas.
And she kind of steps to the side. Jonas, I weary of this. And Jonas is like, I'm on it. And like the whole arch shifts. And where it was old and decayed and decrepit and things were dead, you see the gate shimmer and become pearlescent, almost opalescent, instead of wrought iron. And the stone archway becomes alabaster, and his face upon it, and bright and blooming things appear, climbing up and around it. Through the gate. Let's go.
Going, and I'm gonna be doing double time. Thank you again. It's lovely meeting you. As I step through the gate.
With a final caw that just echoes through you, you pass through the gate. You might want to hold your breath, Jonas says. And
I'm gonna hurriedly hold my breath.
And you tumble. And you feel a splash of cool water. And that's where we're going to leave you for a moment. We're going to go ahead and stop for a break there before we cut back and find out what's been going on. Thanks for sticking with us. We'll take let's be honest, about a 10-minute break here probably. And yeah, see everybody, I suppose, on the flip side. And we're back.
Didn't
I
say
said that
it
as quietly
loud.
as possible so I didn't scare anybody. Excuse me. I just ate some food and made a little rumbly sound. Okay, that was weird. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Like saying I'm sorry was enough, but then you kept going.
Let me describe to you exactly what happened here. The sound, the taste, everything. Yeah, just got weird. Okay, welcome back from the break. Hopefully you read Doritoed and stuff. I should probably stop saying brand names of things. I don't know how that works.
Okay.
But we come back from our break, leaving Anasriele for the time being. And there we go. We find ourselves with the rest of the party. As they exit the mine, you guys, it takes you 15-20 minutes to exit the mine. And you exit the opening of this mine and into the space where you had your initial fight. What seems like forever ago, even though it wasn't. I think you guys spent the night there, so yesterday. And you see that everything is relatively familiar as you exit into the semi-cleared space, surrounded by trees on most sides, because you are in the heart of the Wyver Wood, and it is relatively kind of woolly and overgrown all around you, except for this space that had begun to be cleared out a bit at the base of the quarry cliff. You see the large fallen tree or two nearby, which had been felled and was decomposing. You see the kind of slabs of stone that had fallen from the cliff face. On one of which had been placed the many baskets that had been retrieved, in each of which was the form of a pixie. And you had begun to open them, and Olivet, the shaman, had begun to help to examine and stabilize before you all had gone back inside, and had used, if you recall, some sort of a poultice on the end of a thorn to stabilize them to some degree. Actually, I think she actually used a spell, now that I think of it, pulling a bit of the essence from a rock nearby to lend some steadfastness to her comrades upon the stone where they lie. And you see that stone is still there, but none of the sprites or pixies seem to be visible as you exit the tunnel. You can see the remnants of the kind of roughly built cages made of branches and twine, basically, or probably some sort of improvised twine made from the bark of trees or something. You can see them there, but you don't see the kind of telltale sparkle or kind of semi-glow of these creatures as you exit. And you can see that it is already, late-ish in the day. You can see kind of a late afternoon sun filtering down through the trees and into the space here. But see none of those. You do, however, see a new addition to the space. A rather large and obvious one. You see that a new tree has appeared in the space, and it seems to have sprung up beside one of the large pools of water that were a bit kind of dank and kind of rotten. You do notice also that the tree that had fallen and that was kind of rotting, beginning to rot and kind of decay, you can see that it looks much less diseased than it used to. It is still in the state of decay that you left it, but doesn't seem to be actively decaying. In fact, growth has appeared. You can see like small saplings have sprung up in this kind of nursery log, this new nursery log that has appeared here. You see new growth of kind of mushrooms and fungus has sprung up, brightly colored, very brightly colored. new fungus has grown along the trunk, and flowers have kind of crawled up and appeared, and so on and so forth. The air doesn't smell as dank as it did before. It smells relatively fresh. Before, there was a pretty heavy odor of kind of a sulfury decomposition smell. Seems to have gone. And once again, you see a large tree, kind of old and bent and crooked, kind of leaning over one of these water pools that had been polluted. And this tree is, again, it's large. It's got a kind of a gray trunk to it that's kind of roughened in bark. The bark is kind of split in the way of old trees. The leaves are dark, kind of a dark, deep green. Pinnate, kind of almost fern-like, that there's like long kind of stems with many leaves off of them. And you can see that it's got many kind of seed pods kind of hanging down from out of it that curl and curve down, that are a little more of a yellowy green than the deep green of the trees. Do any of you have nature to any sort of decent degree? Those of you that are there. +4 nature, Akerly? Why don't you roll a nature check for me? Any of you that are maybe proficient in that or have some sort of a proficiency in nature.
I have a +4 too, so.
Go for it.
15.
23.
Being much more familiar with trees, let's say, because there's more of them where you're from, Bitsy, you for sure recognize this tree. It is a very large, very old honey locust tree. A tree that oftentimes has many thorns growing upon it in brambly fashion. And this large honey locust has somehow appeared in this space. As you look at this honey locust, you see a flickering of lights, kind of just doing this. They're static; they're not moving, but they are flickering. This kind of golden color, and as you appear, a silvery light zips from out of the tree, the boughs of the tree, down in your direction, as you recognize the form of a sprite heading in your direction. And you can see that it's Kelva, the male sprite, zipping down to you, and he approaches. Well met, he says. You're alive! You're alive!
So are you! We're doing so good.
So good?
So good. We're doing really great because we're breathing, and so are you.
I am breathing, and so are you. Most of you? Oh, wait. There are less of you. Well, and he looks at Adam, who kind of out behind you and kind of peers out into the space. Wow, this is nice, he says. Well, the same number of you, but one of your number is missing.
We lost Anasriele, but she's gonna meet up with us, hopefully. Well, we're kind of taking the word of a stranger who's not really a stranger, but like an acquaintance, but like, you know, like you have gut feelings about people, and usually you should trust them, and I didn't really get a bad gut feeling about this one person, and so when that one person said that we'd be seeing Anasriele and she's on her way, I kind of believed her, but now I'm getting worried and doubting myself, and it's not a good feeling, but, you know, it's really nice seeing that you're okay and that, you know, you're not dead.
He zips up to your face as you're talking, and he slaps his hands, kind of touching your cheeks, and he says, you need to pull it together. You must be strong.
Okay.
He kind of gives you a bit of a tap and kind of pulls back. Things have changed. They are looking up now, he says. We are in the...
You're getting better?
Well, I was always great, he says. But my comrades are doing much better now that Eklaren is here.
Eklaren?
Yes, Eklaren, the Thorn-Mother. She's arrived. And he turns, and as he says this and kind of points with a flourish in the direction of the pool, you can see the honey locust, the crooked kind of honey locust, begin to uncrooked, kind of. And then you see it move and turn with a as it spins, and you can see now that its trunk is split and it has two legs that it's walking upon. You see arms kind of hanging down, one of which it pulls up from where it was touching the water that you saw there. And as it pulls its arm up and spins to you, you now see the flowers, the kind of rotten flowers that were odd, have been replaced with gorgeous natural lilies on the pond as it spins and kind of turns ponderously with a rustle and a creak in your direction. And you can spy in its trunk a face that has appeared. You see eyes kind of blinking slowly and a mouth that curls into a bit of a smile as it sees you. And it kind of begins to walk in your direction. Goosh, goosh. And you see as it gets closer many of these little lights hanging in the boughs of the tree. You can see that there are small little gourd-like shapes that have been strung up and kind of hanging in the branches of the tree, and each of them has a little light inside it. He says, "Yes, the Thorn-Mother has come and has helped us begin to cleanse this place, and has helped to begin to cleanse our people, which is a very good thing.
Yeah.
Would you like to meet her?"
Oh, yes, please. Yes. I'm gonna start hopping up and down.
He kind of zips and kind of leads you in the direction of this large honey locust that is
I'm gonna follow.
walking towards you. Looks down at you in a very kind of deep, husky kind of female voice. You hear her say to you, and it booms out over the space. Well met, she says. Sorry.
Well, I'm gonna curtsy awkwardly because it feels right.
You must be the group whom Kelva has told me so much about.
Yeah, but we're missing one person of our group, but we also got a new person.
She looks perplexed for a minute. Well, I'm both sorry to hear that and happy for you, she says.
It's an appropriate response.
Your friend, is she alive?
I don't know. But
We think so.
yeah, like what Wicked said.
And she kind of takes another step towards you. Well, I shall hope with you until we know, he says. And
That's very nice of you.
You're one of the most beautiful things I've seen in a long time.
Big smile, kind of. She's a very old tree. Splits her face, and a deep laugh escapes. Well, that's nice of you to say, she says. I do try to beautify things wherever I go.
That makes you very beautiful in turn.
Well, you are all beautiful for mortals, she says.
And Anasriele's really the prettiest of us all. But that's just my opinion. I think everyone has those, admirable traits, but Anasriele's just, pretty in the worldly sense.
Yeah.
Is Anasriele your friend that is lost?
Yeah.
Well, now I can't wait to meet her.
I think you get along.
You have done a great thing for me and for mine, she says. And she kind of puts a hand up with like a twiggy finger, it's basically a branch, and Kelva kind of lights on it and kind of sits and kind of looks adoringly up at her. You have helped my family, and for that I am grateful.
No, it was our pleasure to help.
And yet you did not have to.
No, but I feel like it would have been wrong and morally damaging if we didn't.
Well, morals are a good thing.
I agree.
In my experience, not all mortals who have tread into these deep woods have had the same morals as you.
Probably not.
That is why we generally have sent them packing back to their lands with a little help from my friends.
That's really smart. I had a father figure once tell me that, life is about surrounding yourself with people that make you better. And if they're morally deplorable, then you shouldn't be surrounding yourself with them. So good for you.
She kind of nods with a big rustle of her leaves and these kind of corkscrew like seed pods that hang from her that dangle. They're almost jewelry-esque in the way that they hang. She kind of bobs her head. Your father sounds like a very wise man indeed.
I think so. He's a furbolg, though, so he's not technically a man.
You see her eyes kind of widen. A firbolg, you say?
Yeah, he's big.
I have not seen a firbolg in a very long time.
Yeah, now that you talk about it, I haven't seen many since we've, gone on our adventure.
Many firbolgs used to wander these woods and the woods across the river.
Wow, that must have been really cool to see, huh?
They were great shepherds of the forest, and great proponents of growth. They helped us keep things flourishing and safe.
Yeah, he loves all of those things. He loves flourishing, and he really likes safety too. So he kind of fits the description.
A worthy father indeed.
Father figure, yeah.
Father figure. She kind of looks down
Not
at
my
you.
biological. That would be weird. I don't think so. I don't know how that would work. Doesn't make any sense. But he's definitely the fatheriest figure I know.
And she bends down and looks a little closer. That makes more sense. And she kind of squints a little closer. Oh, I see. You are a gnome.
Yes, and Wicket. I'm gonna gesture and look around for Wicket.
And the
I'm
tree.
here. Sorry, I'm really tired.
He's
And
a
I just
gnome
had to
too.
pop up.
You hear Adam next to you. Is this tree a threat?
No.
I
Nope,
will not.
nope.
I will not pulverize it then.
Yes, good. Don't do that. That'd be bad and mean a little bit. We're not mean. Don't worry, he won't do anything like that.
Not a problem. Not a problem. She says. Sorry, my screen is distracting me. Not a problem. He seems very stalwart indeed. I have seen his kind. He will be a great ally for you and yours.
Well, if you've seen his kind, then maybe Wicket doesn't know much about the deep. She's apparently a deep watcher, and Adam is of the deep. And we don't know what that means, or we're forgetting what that means because sometimes people know and they forget, and that's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I don't know at all. I don't think I've ever known. I have a really good memory. I usually remember the things I knew. So I don't think I ever knew it, but yeah.
She kind of bends up a little bit. Well, I imagine that you are not one with the gnomes of Anduin. If so, you would not be here, but there.
They're in another place that we're not at. Which place
Indeed.
is?
It is in
Well, I mean, I'm not from this place. I do come from a different gnome place.
I don't come from a known place. Well, maybe it's a gnome place because I'm a gnome. So maybe if you're in a place and you're a gnome, it automatically is a gnome place. But I think in the context that we're discussing, it's not a gnome place.
Very
Yeah, that makes
astute.
sense.
Very astute. No, that does make sense. The gnomes of Endelwyn have been sealed away for many, many years. You are obviously not there, so unless you escaped from Endelwyn, you are obviously not of Endelwyn, and yet you seem very similar to those who dwell there. I once spent time there among the gnomes of Endelwyn and walked with the rulers of Endelwyn, the Laframel. We walked along beneath the great eaves and boughs of the mightiest trees there. But after a time things changed. The Laframel rulers of Endelwyn began to look up to the stars and instead of down to the forests. And the Kuamel began to rise in that void. The Kuamel, I believe, probably were those who built your friend here. And she kind of points a twiggy finger at Adam of the Deep. He seems to be one of their construct. I have seen them, but I do not know much of them. The Kuamel mostly spent their time in the deep places, beneath the capillary hills upon which the cities of Endelwyn were built.
I mean, I'm like from a place that the gnome place I'm from. It's like really dark and deep too. Like we're like underground, so it's really dark and deep. I never really called it the deep or anything, but do you know what Akamve means?
I'm afraid I do not know this term. I did not pay much attention to those things while I was in Endelwyn, and I spent most of my time with the Laframel, the ruling house there. I did not spend much time with the Kuamel, though I did spend some time with the Solamel. They of the river.
There's a lot of bells. Actually, I think one of your sprite friends are sprite friends, because I consider them friends too. Call me a Laframel, so hopefully it's a nice name, not some evil.
Depends on who you ask, I suppose.
That me.
Laframel ruled in Endelwyn for a very long time. They had magic, as did the leaders of the Kuamel, and even the leaders of the Solamel. They had magic, and hence they ruled, but the gnomes of Endelwyn became very suspicious of those with magic after a time, after mistakes were made. It was in an effort to exile the Kuamel. That was when the border, the boundary, was sealed to Endelwyn. My friends, and she kind of stands and raises her hands up kind of towards the crown. The sprites and pixies, they are of Endelwyn. And
Really?
they came out at the time of the sealing. Because the Talaru, whom I believe you fought here, they sought to enter Endelwyn during the confusion at the time of the exile of the Kuamel, and to keep the kobolds from entering in until the seal was complete. My friends sacrificed themselves. They fled out of Endelwyn and held back the Talaru. And they have been seeking to defy the Talaru ever since, though they have been losing that war for a long time. They fled out here to the outskirts of the Wyverwood, but now it seems the Talaru have come here even. And she kind of looks at the space around her. Bringing their death and decay. And her voice kind of gets huskier and changes. Poisoning my forest. You notice the thorns and brambles just kind of in her seem to become more prominent in your eyes at this point in time.
Thicket just ever so slightly steps closer to Adam when she sees that.
And turns back. But you have defeated them for now, and I have begun the process of restoration.
Good. That's very good. Well, your our sprite friends are so brave, sounds like, for fighting off the Dolaru and saving all those people in Endowin.
They are very brave. They do not have long memories, as is their nature. But I do. We complement each other. They help me keep the forest safe, and I keep their stories and their memories for them.
That is a very good partnership. That is a very good partnership. So, if Endowin is closed, then how are there still gnomes out?
Well, there are, of course, the Kumel who were exiled. Many of them left this place long ago, and I'm sure that they found some other place to settle, to burrow, and to tinker and to build and to seek the gems that they love so much. You, if you are indeed Laframel, some of them may have escaped, although, from what I understand, those that remained helped to raise the boundary, but I fear their time was limited. The people were very suspicious of magic and those who wielded it. And from what I understand, revolution was imminent. So I am surprised to see you out here. Do you know anything of where you came from or how you arrived?
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna pull out my signet ring and kind of I've been picking up tidbits actually over the past couple minutes. Well, not minutes, over this last brief period of time in our lives, we have run into a lot of people who seem to know a lot more than we do, which is great because then they kind of elevate our our understanding. I'm gonna kind of like look for my ring because I'm trying to like find out where I put it, and then I'm gonna find it in like a left pocket.
Okay.
See, and this seems to be coming up a lot. I've heard Melanet. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Melanet?
And she kind of extends a very large, twiggy, branchy hand to you. May I see?
Yes. Be careful though. It's one of the very last things I have.
I'm very used to handling small and delicate things.
I'm gonna drop it in her hand.
She kind of raises it up and peers closer at it. Her eyes widen. Yes, this is in fact the symbol of House Melanet. It was they who were the ruling family of the Laframel, the greatest among them, with the strongest magics. Interesting. And how did you come by this ring?
Oh, it came with me when I was a baby, and I was kind of dropped off with it, and I'm told that it's my family's, because kind of like an heirloom, and like, think it's smart if you abandon your child or like leave your child in a place to like leave them a little clue of where they come from, and this is that clue that my family left me.
So it is your family then?
Well, I don't know for sure, but yeah, that's my guess. Very educated at this point too.
Well, perhaps then. Perhaps they did manage, in fact, to send some of their number away before they were overthrown. That would be nice, although there are those in Endowin who probably would not like that at all.
Because of revolution.
Although much may have changed. Centuries have passed since the barrier went up. a very long time.
So
Oh, can I ask a question? Like, if she's, what did you call it? A lither?
laugh.
Laframel,
Right.
yes.
Laframel? Cool. And like,
It's pronounced
said-
Laframel. Just kidding.
right, that. And there's like the Kulamel?
The Kuamel.
Kuamel? Cool.
In common, that would be Kuamel.
And, well, it kind of sounds like they didn't really get along, did they?
From what I remember, there were those among the Kuamel who disagreed with the focus of their Laframel rulers and would have ruled differently. And I believe that they had put plans in motion to place themselves in a place of power. But this was caught and captured before it was able to take place. And the Kuamel were exiled because of it. Other things happened at this time, but I was away. I was deep in the forest, tending to my gardens, and I do not know what happened, although something happened. One or more of their leaders did something very terrible, and the entirety of Endelwyn turned upon them.
So, like, they're kind of bad?
Depends on who you ask.
Okay.
It's just different.
Wicked's gonna just, like, unconsciously pull out a bunch of twine and, like, start wrapping it around things and, like, little jewels and buttons and just start stringing it all together randomly, unconsciously. Cool.
Well, they're just different, probably. I mean, the gnomes are out and Wicked lives in a deep place. Maybe Wicked's descended from Kuamel and Wicked's not a bad person. So
Yeah, I'm really not. I don't think I am.
I don't think you are either, and I feel like that's the general consensus of the group, and everyone you meet says you're really great, so obviously you're
But
not.
the gnome place I'm from, they do like finding gems and things, and they do like being in dark, deep places.
Yeah, that fits the description of Kuamel. So this all has to be very, very true, which means Endelwyn's probably somewhere with a whole bunch of people inside it who kind of, what are
But
they?
it was a very long time ago, so I mean, people are probably over it by now, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Time heals all wounds. And it's been a long time. But I feel like gnomes live a decent time. So maybe not. Maybe they just need more time to heal. There's only one way to find out.
I mean, I never heard anything about this, so I mean,
Yeah, why is that?
maybe they don't. Maybe it's because they're not mad anymore, or maybe I'm not a Kuamel person.
That's also very true. There was like 3 other names that you listed off, so maybe you're one of them.
Thorn-Mother's
Yeah.
just very patiently kind of tennis match watching you guys kind of talk to each other.
But if one wanted to go to Endelwyn, for educational purposes,
Mm-hmm.
where would one find Endelwyn?
Well, it is pretty firmly protected. Although much magic was required to raise the defenses, and certainly much would have been required to maintain it, they did have mechanisms in place the Kuamel had built in order to defend themselves. As far as I know, the barrier is still strong, but who knows what has happened. None that I know of have entered. It is very firm. There are perhaps some magical ways of traveling there, but they would have to be very deep, very old, and very holy magics, probably, in order to find passage into Endelwyn.
I mean, maybe if we found like a door, we could knock and they would see we're gnomes and they'd think, oh, we accidentally locked out our family. And so they'd let us in.
Yeah, that's smart. But it's a problem for another day, you know? Take it one step at a time. Right now we're missing Anasriele, and I feel like that's the problem at the forefront of our minds. But quick question.
Yeah.
Did you ever meet a Melanet?
Me?
Yeah.
I did meet a Melanet.
Were they kind?
They seemed kind to me when I walked with them. Before they became enraptured by the heavens and turned their gaze upward. They were quite attentive to me and to mine, and we had much in common in our love of the forest and our desire to keep it strong and clean and flourishing. And hence we counseled much. Many generations of Melanets counseled with me before their interest waned, at which point I wandered away and settled my gardens farther to the west of where I was before. When I knew them, they seemed to be very kind and wise and benevolent rulers, and people seemed to like them well enough. But much has changed.
That's good. That's very, very good. Kind people are good people. People to be with.
Well, you are certainly very tired, and it would seem that you have had quite an experience in the mines. What will you do now?
Well, wait for Anasriele. I think it's good, you know, when you lose people to stay where you are.
Yeah, it's a good, like, you have a meeting point when you, like, get separated and you guys all have to come to the same place so that you find each other again. I think Anasriele would come here for us. So I think it would be good if we just, like, sat and waited, maybe took a nap, because I am very tired.
Very well. I plan to stay here for a little while longer to make sure that the seeds of this restoration have taken root before we return to my gardens. I will wait with you and watch over you, if you will let me.
You seem trustworthy enough.
Oh, good. Wicket just, like, plops down on the ground. I was been waiting to sit down for a very long time.
And the Thorn-Mother turns and says, I will tend to a few more things and then settle down for the evening. Please do excuse me. And she kind of... You see her heading towards the other body of water that was kind of on the other side of that kind of large log laying on the ground. Oddly, watching a full-grown honey locust tree walk away from you. Isn't she the greatest? Kelva says.
Oh, the very greatest.
She's very nice.
I like her a lot.
I thought you'd like her, he says. Well,
you thought right.
Sovam and Olivet and the others, they seem to be doing well already. It will only be a matter of time before they are restored once again, and we can begin to rebuild.
Such a breath of fresh air. Well, I'm gonna look after my own. I'm gonna check for cuts and bruises, and you know, a lot of us probably have wounds of the mental variety.
Those are the worst.
They're all the worst, and they're really tricky too. But if you need anything, don't hesitate to let us know. There's always more to give.
Very well. Thank you again for all your help. I must go check on Sovam now.
Oh, very much. Okay. Well, be safe.
He kind of zips off in the direction of the Thorn-Mother's kind of retreating form. What would you guys like to do?
I stare out of the deep because this is like my first time actually looking at him.
Mm-hmm.
Wicket also looks at him.
I know I'm late in the game, and that we sort of like already accepted what this guy, but
We haven't questioned him very much now.
He just like showed up when I was like being attacked by lots of monsters and things. And I think I was probably gonna die, but then he showed up and like started fighting with me, and he helped to protect me and save me. So I guess he's on our side.
Well then, Adam, I have a question for you. Would you say you are prone to violence?
I am only violent to those who threaten the Akamve.
And
I am
what
very-
is that?
I am very vigorously violent against such as those.
But not for people who are with Wicket.
You are with Wicket and her ally, hence you are safe from my wrath, which is grand.
Cool. So can I ask one more time? I know it's me, but like, what generally is, in general, an Akamve?
I think you mean the Akamve.
Yes, what is the Akamve?
Well, the Akamve is in the form of Wicket and has authority. Her authority thrums through me and empowers me. And were it not
Okay,
for that power and authority, I would still be sitting lifeless in a room somewhere. But I
What
felt that
authority?
power, and I responded to the call. And I vigorously and violently defended you against your enemies.
Yes,
To me.
but I'm pretty sure I didn't call you.
Your authority called me. It thrummed
What?
through me and empowered me.
And what is that authority? What do you mean?
The authority of the Akamve.
Yeah, got that. So what does an Akamve do? I should ask.
Whatever the Akamve does, I will defend her.
Cool. I just turned to Akerly. I'm getting nowhere.
well, Adam of the Deep, nice to meet you. I'm Akerly, Wicket's friend.
He kind of looks at your hand and looks back at Wicket, and
You shake it.
he raises his hand to give you a shake. Very large, firm, stone and metal contraption of a hand. It is nice to meet you too, Akerly, ally of the Akamve.
So Adam, where are you from exactly?
And she's still at it.
I'm from the deep.
But like, where were you exactly right before I woke you up with my authority?
Your authority called to me from the deep, and I awoke and found myself in the deep, and a door had appeared, and your authority called to me through the door, and I...
Everyone keeps mentioning doors. I didn't see any doors.
I mean, there were doors in the room. I didn't get to go in through any though.
I knocked one off its hinges.
Good job, Adam.
Thank you.
I'm sure that door wasn't that important anyway, so.
I'm gonna pick up a rock and walk towards Adam. So, in theory, how vigorously and violently could one throw this rock if it threatened Wicket?
You wish for me to throw it?
Yes, because it's, in theory, threatening Wicket.
You are seeking to hurt Wicket?
Oh no, the rock is!
He steps forward, puts himself between you and Wicket. You will not throw your missile of death at my wicket.
No, you throw it. Throw it away from Wicket. I'm gonna.
No, so if that rock, just see how far you can throw the rock.
Rock.
Will this help you?
Very hard. Throw the rock. Very
It
hard.
will help me. Throw the rock really hard. Away,
Very
not
well.
at a person.
Throw it hard.
Very well.
Not at anything. Throw it towards the water.
Takes it from you and turns towards the water. Hold on one second. And I haven't rolled any dice yet today.
Oh. Good sign.
And he picks up the rock, throws it, goes about as far as if a strong man had thrown it. He kind of up over the clearing, just gets to the edge of the water and splashes into the edge of the water. He kind of looks a bit sheepishly. I am designed for slamming things, but may I try again?
Well, yeah, sure.
You can try again. You can try as many times as you want.
He reaches down and picks up another rock off the ground. And it fumbles out of his hand. So he rolls a natural 1. Sorry.
Relax,
okay.
relax.
Imagine throwing a door off its hinges. You've been there, you've done that. Supposedly, you say.
Yeah, imagine you're like punching the rock away.
He turns to you. Will you please yell angrily at this rock as if it were trying to hurt you?
Yeah, sure. Bad rock, that's not very nice. Go away.
It's not believable enough.
He rolls a 2. He turns around and says, I'm made to slam. And he turns and he runs at the cliff face with his shields in front of him. And he rolls a 19. He slams into the cliff face. And you see this crack appear. As this massive chunk of stone breaks away from the cliff face and begins to kind of topple. And he turns and he runs and he grabs you, Wicket, and kind of hustles all of you off to the side as this thing kind of to the ground. You hear the creaking of the tree mother kind of rise and turn. Is everything okay? Yeah, everything is fine, Adam says.
We're good.
And he turns and he kind of grins his little digital face at you. See?
Good job. You're very strong.
At the end of this assessment, you seem to be a very valuable asset, that's for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome to the team.
I appreciate it.
I mean,
I
I
can't
don't really
believe
know if we have votes or anything, but I'm assuming it's okay. Akerly, what do you think?
Yeah, he's cool.
You can say.
Akerly's opinion is very important, Adam.
Yes, it is. It is very important.
You see him kind of stand a little bit taller. Pim's like, as far as I'm concerned, he's in.
At this point, I'm looking at Akerly as she talks. Do I notice the changes?
Go ahead and roll a perception check.
Is it that hard to tell that I aged 20 years, sir?
I told you in out of character that I watched you age very gracefully.
Investigation.
What's that?
Perception or investigation?
Generally, investigation, you have to
Trying
get
notice.
like up. Are you gonna walk up and like get right up in her face and poke at it?
It's just a glance while she's talking, I guess.
Be perception.
A 10?
God, suck.
10 total.
Yeah, the stress isn't doing much for her, I guess. She'll sleep.
I know perception.
Okay.
What's that?
A 10?
Okay.
Well, I just rolled a 9, so.
You guys are really tired.
Yeah.
You looking at her and actually paying attention to
Loopy
her.
tired.
What stands out to you is this pitch black, inky, dark streak of hair that has appeared on her head for some reason. With a 10, you'd have to get right up on her to really look and see the differences in terms of the aging.
Guys, 24 hours is gonna pass, and I'm not gonna even.
I'll
walk
tell
up,
you when
walk
I'm
up
back.
to your hair. Hey, Kelly, sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down.
I'm just going to say, if you're really getting up close and you're really looking, you definitely do notice that fine kind of crow's feet style wrinkles have appeared at the corners of her eyes. And outside of the black streak in her hair, you do see several strands of kind of grayish hair have appeared kind of at her temples and kind of here moving back through her kind of darker brown hair.
I'm gonna walk up to her and
And
shoo
she
her
has
to
she's got a more, there's that maturity that kind of comes to faces as they kind of lean out and kind of mature. Her face has changed. She definitely looks like more of a closer to middle-aged woman.
Wicked's gonna like pat Adam to put her down and then walk over to Akerly.
Here, it's really dirty. I'm gonna try and like rub this gray dirt out of her hair and then come to the realization that it's not coming out. Wow.
Wicked's gonna try rubbing the black dirt out of her hair and it's not
You
coming
notice then at that point, it's not only not coming out, but you get your hands up in it and realize it is just her hair that has been, it's her hair, it's been changed. There's nothing in it. And her hair is now.
Whoa.
Whoa.
A lot of stress in the past hour because, man, your hair is just.
It's changed color a little bit.
You're getting gray hair
And black hair.
and black hair. And your face looks a little. Whoa.
It's just different, but just a little bit.
Like you're under stress.
I squint at them and realize that this is the second time that someone said it, so I stand and then I walk over to the pond.
Okay, you're heading towards the water?
Yeah.
Okay.
The same
So-
water that tried to kill me 2 episodes ago.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So you walk towards the pond, and as you approach, for whatever it's worth, the pond has transformed drastically. No more scum kind of floating on the top of it. It looks like a very normal and kind of woodland pond. A few insects buzzing around and some beautiful kind of lilies with their pads floating around there. As you approach the pond to peer into it, let's do this actually. You do approach the pond, you get up right next to it, and you kind of bend over and you look in. You're trying to use it like as a mirror, is what I'm assuming, yeah? Is that the plan?
Yeah.
And you get close to it in the kind of fading light, and you look in the water and you see a face that feels very different than the one you woke up to yesterday. In a way, it's a face that reminds you a bit of your mother. You almost at first are like, oh gosh, Mom, what are you? And then you realize that it's you. Looking up at yourself out of the pond. There's a pretty distinct difference. As you look over, your hair drapes down, and you do see that dark, kind of shiny, dark black streak that hangs down. I will say this as well. You look into the water. Actually, let me get back to that in just a second. As you look and you kind of peer down, all of a sudden you see almost a shadow of a face appear in your face.
Oh, no.
Something that is very much not you. And the skin tone of your face changes to a very kind of greenish kind of color. And then all of a sudden a face pops up out of the water. And you see Anasriele kind of out of the water. Anasriele, obviously, you swam through water. You stepped through the door and suddenly found yourself kind of thrashing about in pure water. And then looking up,
if I get my hands on that statue, I'm gonna kill him.
Here, Anasriele, were you there the whole time?
What are you doing swimming at a time like this? We were worried sick.
We've been waiting for you for a very long time.
That was very insensitive of you.
Yeah.
We've been looking for you for a long time.
We almost died without you.
But why were you looking for us in the lake?
I
I
wouldn't be.
wasn't.
Then explain yourself.
Out of character question, David.
Go
What
ahead.
day is it?
What day of the month is it?
Well, if it's the same day that we went into the cave, it's the 4th day of Lauren. If it's a day after the day we went in, it's the 5th day of Lauren.
The day you went into the cave?
Yeah, it was the 4th day of Lauren when we went into the cave. So if it's, because we went in the morning, so not a lot of time passes.
It is,
so
in fact, the 4th day of
I
Lauren.
love that you have a calendar.
I do.
Where's the
I've
box?
got to keep track of things on the calendar that I built. I should send you guys all one of these so that you have them.
Yeah, you said
But yeah, 4th day of Lauren,
it. Okay, cool.
which is
Well,
heading towards autumn.
I'm gonna start. I'm right at the edge, I'm assuming, because you were using it as a mirror.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna climb out of the lake then. And I'm gonna look around and say, wow, things are different. Oh, this is nice. A new tree. Cool. Well, I saw a ghost.
So did I.
I mean, we saw a ghost, and I'm gonna gesture to Acrely. Let me start over. Okay. And I'm gonna calm down for a second and center myself. Anasriele, you're a bard. You know how to tell a story. Get yourself together. All right. It all began when Bitsy went through a door and disappeared. Pim and Wicket were already through their door.
Yeah, we were there for all of that. You want to skip ahead a bit into when we're already.
Okay, so we went through the door and then we were like, ah! Because we saw a ghost. You aged beautifully, by the way.
That explains it.
Great hair.
Wrinkles.
Like back over the pond and like stressfully like pulling at my skin.
Wicket just like looks at you while you do this, and she goes, "You really aged wonderfully. I mean, you weren't different at all. I really didn't notice that much."
How old am I now? Am I going to die soon? Does this mean I age older every day?
I'm sorry, and I'm gonna pat you on the shoulder comfortingly as I say this to you. I'm in the middle of a story. I need you to wait for your meltdown to happen until after I'm done. And I'm gonna turn back to Bitsy and the rest of everybody.
Wicket just sympathetically pats her.
Then a door appeared. I went through the door. Please don't yell at me for that.
Well, they all went indoors, so you're not alone.
Yeah, everybody went through doors except for me. I was left to fight monsters, Anasriele. Monsters.
Okay, you sound a little bitter about that. I'm gonna continue. I went through a door. I ended up in a room. There was 4 of me.
Whoa.
I know. And I'm gonna describe in detail kind of everything I saw.
Okay.
Talk about. I'm gonna kind of skim over what happened when I went through. It was a mirror, right?
Yep. Yeah, initially
when
when
I
you
went through-
and found Jonas the first time, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna talk about how it was all kind of falling apart in this ruinous beauty, how everything was covered in ivy. At least I think. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Then I met a statue who's a bard. We played music. It was awesome. He invited me to do more stuff, but I told him no because my friends are facing a ghost and I had to go. So we had a short conversation and he kind of sent me on my way. And then I'm pretty sure I died, but I didn't die.
What?
Okay, let me let me correct that. I was alive. I asked. I ended up in the dead realm. So that was fun. It's beautiful in a dead sort of way. There are birds, so that was surprising. Never would have pegged that. Um,
That
I
bird's
met my worst enemy there, also a childhood friend of mine. Neither of them were really there, but they did stuff. So like who knows if they were or weren't there? It felt pretty real. My worst enemy got eaten by ravens, but he told me basically that he's coming after me. Then I escaped after the Lady of the Dead Realm helped me escape. Then Jonas sent me into a pond, and here I am, popping out an Acorley's face. The end. So what happened to you guys?
Well, I have a couple questions.
I'm 37! Oh, I'm not 37. I'm old!
You almost died.
You'll have to hold your questions for a second. Your meltdown. You're not old.
Well, she looks old.
In human years, I am. All of you guys have different ages than me. You're all basically immortal.
Well, I'm not immortal, and
I almost died too. I'm definitely not immortal.
yeah. So that statement is false.
You guys are great at cheering me up.
I think
You aged really
Look
beautiful.
great. It really doesn't make it much of a difference, I don't think. You really do look great. Practically the
look-
same.
You look like a queen.
you're really stunning.
I can see you charging out on Dawn.
Yeah, like
Yeah, you just look like more of an experienced warrior instead of like someone who hasn't had any experience in a warrior way.
Pim says, I think you look fine.
Pim understands nothing.
What is there something wrong with a little gray hair?
Anasriele is gonna look at Pim and not answer.
I mean, some people pull it off a little better.
I like gray hair. I think it makes people look experienced and wise.
Wizened.
You could be Akerly the Wise.
And Pim could just be old.
I think it adds a dazzling sort of factor, like you put strands of silver through your hair.
I'm gonna die sooner.
Silver is rich. Silver is like silver and gold, so it just makes you look like a really wealthy person.
It just means that you'll value the time that you have better.
Yeah.
At this point, I sort of stare into the pond, and I see the lily pad there.
Yep.
Magic lily water. So I rummage for it, and I pull it out, and I take a sip.
I'm glad. I was trying to figure out how to remind you
No, I
that you had
remembered.
it.
I was just getting the meltdown out of the way.
You guys watch as she pulls out a very small, ornate-looking flask, pops the stopper out of the top, and gloop, 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 some random liquid. You feel it enter you, slide down your throat in a warm and comforting way. And you feel kind of a ripple race through your body. And you all watch as Akerly's lean, mature face suddenly kind of plumps up just a little bit. And as her hair seems to get just a shade darker than it had been a second ago. The wrinkles fade, and the effects of the aging seem to have reversed. The black streak is still very prominent on your head, though.
I wonder why that's not going on.
Black stuff kind of looks like the black stuff you got hit with.
What stuff?
Yeah, we were in the room, and and you were standing there, and Adam got thrown out of the room, and then the scary gnome guy was like, phew, and like shot black stuff at you, and then you I thought you died, and then like a scary you came up, and it looked exactly like you, and then scary black you shot me with a magic missile, and that's when I died.
Well,
I
you
killed
did
it?
die.
Because I'm not dead, so.
Got knocked out for a minute.
Hey, but you could have tested that haunted theory. You did that.
Huh?
Whether or not you're the haunting type.
Not the haunting type.
I didn't really die, though, so we don't know.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I was just knocked
Wait.
unconscious.
Was I
But
scared?
it was a evil, scary black acrely, and it kind of is like that. Was like that gross, inky black that's in your hair now.
You guys were all over the place. I'm having trouble trying to put you guys all in the same timeline and in the same place. And Acrely's in this one place, and then Anasriele's in one place, and what gets out on the floor, and Adam comes out of the
Okay.
door, and this timeline is kind of like.
Well, I walked into my door with Pim, and then and then it was just like I didn't see you guys, but then I tried to peek out, but then I couldn't because then all of a sudden these like metal monsters came out of the ground and started attacking us, and then Pim got pulled into a different door, and so then I was trying to attack the metal monsters that were trying to eat me.
Oh yeah.
And then I did that for a very, 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 very long time, all by myself. I thought I was going to die for sure. And then, that's when like more scary people came. The scary gnome suddenly came a little later, and it was weird. I don't really know where they came from. They just kind of came out of this
I was
in time.
Came out of a thing I was trying to keep closed, but I couldn't keep it closed.
At this point, though, I look at Anasriele and I know she aged, but can I tell at all? Does it show at all on her?
It does not.
Okay.
There's
You're
really
old and no
no noticeable difference.
In which case, I'm gonna see you looking at me, and I'm gonna lean over the pond.
And yeah, you look in the pond, you see your face. Not really any noticeable difference that you can tell. Just the same face, the cute beret, the little curl of hair.
Before I come back, I'm gonna school my face so it gives nothing away, and then I'm just gonna stand and look at Acrely, and then at the ground.
Yeah, and Asriel, this is Adam. He's part of our team now.
He can throw rocks a normal size, but he can smash them to bits.
Pleasure to meet you.
He's a really good defender. He helped save my life.
I am Adam of the Deep. Welcome, ally of the Arkham Vey.
You can call me Anasriele.
Very well, Anasriele. I am the defender of the Arkham Vey. Well met.
What's an Arkham Vey?
It's pronounced Arkham Vey.
Arkham Vey.
Perfect. Quick learner.
Took me so long to get that.
She is the Arkham Vey. Points at Wicket.
You're an Arkham Vey?
We don't know what that is or why he's calling me that.
She
Did
has
you ask him to
authority.
tell
Yeah.
you everything he knows about it?
Adam, tell me everything you know about the Arkham Vey.
The Arkham Vey is Wicket. She has authority. I am Adam of the Deep.
That's all we got.
Authority for what?
Nobody knows.
It's a little bit empty up here, but not in here. So
He's very nice, though. He'll protect us.
I'm a defender.
yeah.
Yep.
So you say that you defend the Arkham Vey.
We've already asked all the questions. He's gonna repeat it every time.
So does that
To get something different.
mean you will defend us in battle or just Wicket?
Oh, we haven't asked that.
Good question.
He turns back to Wicket. I'm here to serve and protect the Arkham Vey. I will protect her at all costs. If she believes that her protection would be best served by the protection of those around her or her allies, then I will happily submit.
And
Yes.
what's well met, Adam of the Deep, and I'm gonna extend my hand.
Well practiced.
Yes,
shakes
so
it.
you should definitely protect them too if they are in danger.
As long as I am not leaving you in danger, I will do my best.
Okay, just like if they're like sometimes, yeah, just do your best to protect anybody you can.
He turns back to all of you. Just stay close to the Akamve.
Yeah.
I'll
Well,
do my best.
And there's like a sound as you turn in Anasriele and you see the tree you noticed earlier coming back in your direction. Well, it looks like your friend has returned.
came out of the water.
And she is beautiful, like you
I told
said.
you.
Thank you.
I'm glad you are no longer lost.
Me too.
I'm Eklorin.
She's the Thorn-Mother.
The Thorn-Mother?
Yeah.
Thank you for your help.
You are very welcome.
Now that you are all returned, would you like to rest?
Oh, yes. So much to process. Sleep kind of helps with that, too.
Yeah.
I take it you're the one who restored all of this?
With a creaky nod. I have begun the process, planted the seeds of the restoration. By tomorrow morning it should have taken root sufficiently for me to leave it, so long as none come and tamper with it again. I do not sense the Talaru here, though I do sense some remnant of their power.
I'm gonna glance at Pim.
And she kind of
Oh
turns.
yeah, Pim got hurt. I think like something's wrong with him. If you could help him, that'd be awesome.
Kind of bends down, looks at Pim. I see. You have the mark of the sprite upon you, but it is different. And she kind of reaches out like a twiggy finger towards Pim's neck, and you see her kind of just lightly kind of touch the space, and then kind of pull her hand back. That is unfortunate. I do not quite understand what has taken root there. Something about it is different than the other magics that were used to deteriorate and destroy the land here. It is a different magic. The magic that sought to draw the life and magical strength out of my friends. It is similar. I'm afraid I cannot restore it.
Will he be okay?
Kind of bends back up. Only time will tell, she says. Perhaps a good night's rest will help.
I'm gonna start pulling out my sleeping mat and such.
And she kind of turns to face the water with like her back to the cliff face. And you see her feet kind of begin to kind of like her toes dig into the sand, the soil of the area as she begins to kind of settle. She sinks a foot or two into the ground, and you see her kind of seal up a bit, and her kind of roots appear and kind of wrap around and create this sort of a circle of a space at her base. Perhaps you should rest here. I will watch over you.
I'm gonna drag my sleeping pack over.
Wicked also walks over and starts pulling out a sleeping bag.
I'm gonna walk up. I kind of this nest of roots and have a flashback for a second.
Right.
My tree and my nest of roots. And then I'm gonna put my hand on oh my goodness, I'm spacing her name.
The Thorn-Mother.
The Thorn-Mother. That is what I shall call her moving forward. And just quietly say while I watch everyone kind of bed down, thank you for taking care of the wild.
It is all that I can think of. It is all that I am. But it is a battle I am losing. I
Me
have
too.
lost many of my friends, and the wood continues to corrupt and be deteriorated.
May I ask you a question before we settle in for the night?
You may.
Have you ever come across something like me?
A bit of a
I
creep.
take it that you would know the history of this world.
Kind of creaks and looks a little closer at you. I do not know that I have. In some ways you resemble the elves. Those across the river loft in the Marser forest, though I have not seen them for a very long time. But they are not quite the same as you.
No, they are not. Have you ever heard of anyone being bonded to a tree?
Well, yes, of course.
To the point where the individual changes with its seasons?
That is not something I have heard of, not quite. There is some transfer of power, strength that can pass between a bond that has been formed between one of the old trees and another individual. But that is something different, slightly different.
Well, it is now a new piece of knowledge to add to your wealth.
Well, I thank you for it.
Thank you for answering my questions and for providing us a safe place to rest.
This tree of yours, where is it?
It is far away. I forget what the woods are called, David.
It's actually in the Marser forest, the
Marser Forest. There you
kind
go.
of heart of the elven
You once
forest.
taught that, and I
Yeah.
can get it myself. It is far away, nestled within the Marser Forest currently, but it came from somewhere else.
She looks a bit confused. It walked from one place to another then.
More like transported, as far as I can tell.
Well, that is something entirely different.
Yes. I'm gonna kind of give a sarcastic little chuckle.
Tickles at a memory. I must think
My head's
upon
gonna
it.
snap up.
What's that?
My head's gonna snap up at that.
I will think upon it and tell you if I remember anything.
Thank you. And I'm gonna slide over whatever root is in front of me and into this nest.
All right. Is there anything else you all would like to do before you settle in? To recover all your hit points with a long rest?
Yeah.
I will compose as I do in the evening. So.
Okay.
Spend an hour. Before I go to bed, I lift the pendant of my necklace and whisper, "Good night, Dawn."
Sorry, I can't hear you well. You can get a little closer to your mic.
Good night, Dawn.
Oh.
And then I pull out the banner book Cillian game.
Okay.
Sort of look over the new written language of it.
Okay. I'm going to have you do an Arcana check for me.
Oh, while she does that, I'll pull Caspian, make sure Caspian's okay too. She reminded me.
Yep. Caspian is present. Snuggles in and kind of...
Yeah, it's been a long one.
He nods in agreement with you.
13.
Okay. Yep, you spend 45 minutes to an hour flipping through this banner book, which is filled with words in some language. And you kind of read and look, and you're kind of using your intelligent mind. You're almost looking for, like, if you can see resemblances to languages that you know or written characters that you know, and you're trying to wrap your mind around it. But it slips past. And you do make some progress on coming closer, but it remains just about as illegible as it did when you started the night. But you have a sense that perhaps with a little more time, you'll get a little closer.
Bicket's gonna pull out her moonstone wand and just kind of work on adding materials and things into it and just messing with it.
He's gonna sleep.
He's going right to bed. Cool. Hey, do you pull the codex rod out at all at any point? Have you done that yet, Akerly?
Not yet. It's on my list to do, but if I study a spell, doesn't it take like in the 2 hours to do? So that would take away from my sleep. Then if I don't sleep, I don't get to recover my spell slot.
Right. It'll take a little bit of time to kind of do some reading and spend a little bit of time with it. Yeah, I'll take a closer look at it and remind myself of kind of what it would take. I think reading in and learning some of the stuff would be a bit easier. It'll take you time to actually, if there's any spells or anything in there for you to learn, would then take time for you to kind of transfer that over into your spell book, quote unquote. But yeah. Okay, well. So you all settle in at the roots of this large honey locust tree with its spiraling pods and its flickering lights up above in this glade that is suddenly transformed from what you found earlier. Thinking on everything that's happened, and quite a bit has happened to each of you, the things that you have learned, maybe thinking briefly of the path that lays before you, and kind of falling asleep to ideas of what tomorrow might bring. And fall into a restful slumber. You feel safe. I mean, if you're super paranoid, you guys could place watches, but there's something about the presence of the Thorn-Mother here with the sprites, with Sovim and Kelva up above, that puts you at ease as you fall asleep, and you get a really good night's sleep, which is very useful. And nothing happens while you sleep. And I think that we're going to go ahead and call it there for the night. Hit about 3 hours here. Awesome. And we will pick up next week and see where your choices lead you into the future. Good job. I am excited for what's developing around all of you and what's going to happen moving forward. I'll hop in and get you guys leveled up a little bit. You're not going to fully level up, but you'll have gained some experience for sure over this last little bit. So we'll start nudging you in the direction of that. So awesome. Thanks to everybody for sticking with us, for watching this evening. Once again, join us on Instagram, on Facebook. You can catch up on past episodes or episodes of Out of Character, and even a one-shot that we did, which we'll be doing more of here in the future on our YouTube channel. So join us there. If you have any friends or family who you think might be interested in this, give them a shout. We'd love to have them in our little community. So. Other than that, I think that's going to be about it, unless there's anything else that you all can think of.
Nope.
And we'll sign off just by saying thanks for being here, and we will see you next time. Peace.
Bye.